If something happened to you tomorrow, would your power of attorney know how to get your mortgage paid?
Would your guardian know what time your kids go to bed?
Would your executor know where your passwords are located?
These are the important conversations to have after you've completed your estate plan. Hi everyone, my name is Hannah.
And I'm Annie.
And today we're going to be talking about important conversations to have with your loved ones about your estate plan.
So today we're going to talk about conversations that actually make your estate plan work. And just to be clear, the goals of these conversations are not to reveal everything about your estate plan. Instead, they are about trying to make things easier for the people who are going to have to deal with all of it. So to communicate your thoughts and hopes and dreams that can't be communicated in legal documents.
So we're going to start with a few key roles, the first of which is your executor. Your executor is the person who handles your affairs when you die. They basically step in for you after you're gone. They handle the logistics, the paperwork, the timelines, and making sure that the assets get to where you want them to go. Think of them as your point person after you're gone. What does an executor actually need from you while you're alive? You don't need to reveal to them every piece of your estate plan. Instead, it might be helpful to have the following conversations with them: where your original documents are, where your assets are, the fact that you've named them as the executor so they know that they can expect to do this after you're gone. And here's a list of people to contact when I'm gone. I usually say that should be a lawyer, your CPA, your financial advisor, any other professional advisors, or frankly, friends, family members that should know that you're gone. So it's not necessarily walking through your whole estate plan line by line. Instead, you're just giving them the necessary tools to make their job easier.
Another important conversation you need to have is with the guardian of your children. So in your will, you designate a guardian for any child who's under 18 years old. So if you have minor children, you really should do more than just list a guardian. I have 2 kids that are under 18, and I just think about, if I weren't here to take care of them, what would I want my guardian to know about my kids? To be clear, the guardian should probably already know your kids and understand what kind of person they are and what kind of parent you are. But I think it's really important to sit down with your guardian or the person you've designated to have conversations about what you want for them in life, whether you want them to keep going to the school that they're going to. For me, I have really strict rules for my kids about screen time. So I want that to be communicated to my guardian. There's just so many silly little things that are actually really important to me that I want the guardian to understand that I can't put in a will.
Phoebe's hot chocolate.
My daughter drinks warm chocolate milk every morning, which is probably a parenting miss, but it is something that will make my guardian's life a lot easier, right? She needs to have that chocolate milk in the morning. So little things like that, you would never put into a will. I would never put that Phoebe must have warm chocolate milk every morning in my will, but I would absolutely tell the designated guardian that, just to make life a little bit easier for the guardian. Another example is we have a lot of family in California, and I really want my kids to make sure that they continue to see their extended family in California and in Massachusetts, wherever our family is. That's really important to me. Again, not something I'd put into the will, and they might not know that otherwise. In the very unlikely event that a guardian will have to be appointed for my children or for anyone's children, you want them to know what you want for the kids and to help them with that role, because it is a huge responsibility and there's no other way to outline that legally. So with your guardian, you might want to share why you chose them, what kind of life you want your kids to have, what matters most to you as a parent, how you want your kids to stay connected to your family, and any support you've put in place, like grandparents or friends who can help out in raising your kids. So by having these conversations with the guardian, you're not only helping the guardian with the technicalities, but you're helping your kids with the transition if it comes up.
Next up, we're going to be talking about your financial power of attorney. So this is the person that is in charge of basically every decision except healthcare decisions if you are incapacitated. So something to keep in mind is that you are alive when this person is acting. And some important things to tell this person is A, that they are your financial power of attorney, where the document is that provides them that power, where your assets are located. And they don't necessarily need to know what your assets are, but if you have an asset list that specifically designates where things are, that sort of information would be really, really helpful. Also, a place that you keep your passwords. And it doesn't need to be pen and paper if that doesn't work for you. Instead, you could have like an online password storage program like LastPass or Bitwarden. and you could provide them with the master password to that. I have some people that I work with who have the password in their sock drawer for the rest of their passwords. And they say, okay, financial power of attorney, if you need to get into my passwords, then my master password is in my sock drawer. So you don't necessarily need to give it to them now, but it's a way for them to have access to that information. Another important thing would be how you define acting in your best interests, right? Because a financial power of attorney is legally required to act in your best interests. If there's anything that is ongoing that you want to make sure is taken care of while you're incapacitated, or if you become incapacitated, then it's important to relay that information to your financial power of attorney. For example, like developing on your property or something like that. So you might say, I don't expect you to know everything, but here's a really, really good place to start. And that alone will remove a lot of pressure from your financial power of attorney.
Another important conversation that you have to have is with the person you've designated as your healthcare power of attorney. This is often avoided, but is probably the most important. So your healthcare power of attorney is the person who will make decisions for you related to your healthcare if you can't make the decisions for yourself. This is important because you're empowering another person to make important healthcare decisions for you. Like sometimes they can be life or death decisions. Sometimes it's about a certain medication you're taking. Maybe it's about what kind of care you receive. But the bottom line is that you're not making the decisions, someone else is. So what you're asking another person to do is know what you want, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes we don't even know what we would want in these different situations. So here are a few questions that we recommend you discuss with your healthcare power of attorney so that they know what you want. What does quality of life mean to you? How do you feel about life-prolonging treatments? What worries you the most about medical care? Who would you want to loop in when you have to make certain decisions? These are a lot of difficult questions to ask yourself and to discuss with a loved one. So here's what we suggest. Grab your healthcare power of attorney, bring them out to coffee, and walk through some of these questions so that you can have a little bit of fun when you talk about these really difficult decisions that they may have to make for you in the future.
Another conversation that's overlooked a lot is a conversation with your doctor to let them know that you have these documents. You have a healthcare directive, you have a medical power of attorney. A lot of people I know actually upload digital versions of them to MyChart, and that really helps the decisions not just be legally binding, but also be medically visible to your healthcare providers.
We know that these are difficult conversations to have, and if you don't want to have them right now, you wouldn't be in the minority. Most people don't like talking about this stuff, but what you should consider doing in that case is writing a letter. This can be a letter to the guardian of your minor children. It can be a letter to the executor of your estate. It can be a letter to your favorite grandparent. It can be a letter to anyone where you want to communicate something that's important to you that reflects your legacy. I recommend all my clients write letters, put them with their estate planning documents. Remember, these are not legally enforceable documents. These are just your thoughts and wishes on a letter to let someone know what you're thinking. Your legal documents, like your will and power of attorney, will say what they need to say legally to make them enforceable, but the letters are the words that come from your heart. And those are the things that are gonna matter to your family and friends the most. They're not gonna keep your will, but they will keep the letter that you write to them. All of this communication comes back to one thing: reducing the burden on the people you love.
Because when something happens, we're not just dealing with logistics, we're dealing with stress and emotion and loss. So the more clarity you can give your family and your loved ones now, the smoother that transition will go for them. So step 1, get your estate plan completed at orbertwills.com. And step 2, talk to your family and your loved ones about it. And once you complete those 2 steps, your estate plan will not only be legally enforceable, but your legacy will be protected. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.